Hello, it's beginning of the week and you are joining us again in the daily edition of Into Vietnam. In today's headlines, Vietnam rolls over loans worth 77 trillion dong in 2014. Nelson says consumers are optimistic about economic outlook here in the country. And Quảng Ninh province develops 100% foreign-owned industrial park. In his report on public and government debts at the National Assembly working session on November the 17th, Deputy Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc reported by the end of 2013, Vietnam's public debt were equivalent to 54.2% of GDP and government debt accounted for 42.3%. The respective number for 2014 are 60.3% and 46.9%, which are within the safety limit. The government strives to perfect in institutional basis, tighten management over public debts, and reform state budget structure. It plans to bring the public debt over GDP ratio to 60.2% and government debts to 46.6% by 2020. According to the assessment of Q3 2014 by Nelson Global Survey of Consumer Confidence and Spending Intentions, Vietnam's Consumer Confidence Index jumped 3 points to 102, the highest level since late 2010, showing that consumers have shared a positive outlook for the future in spite of difficulties over the past 18 months. Consumers are willing to spend their spare cash on vacation, new clothes, latest technological products, and household utensils. However, in general, Vietnamese consumers still have a cautious approach when it comes to spending. According to the survey, 7 out of 10 consumers in Vietnam spend their spare cash on savings after meeting their essential living cost. The Chinese textile group of Texhong kicked off a project to build infrastructure for an industrial park in Hai Ha district in northern Quảng Ninh province. The park is part of the Mong Cái Border Gate economic zone that covering 660 hectares. The project, worth 4.5 trillion dong or $225 billion, includes an industrial plant, a management center, a garment textile business, and service areas to attract domestic and foreign investors. It is expected to generate jobs for 30,000 people and provide momentum for the Mong Cái Border Gate economic zone. The Vietnam Joint Stock Commercial Bank for Industry and Trade, or VietinBank, saw its Q3 net profit drop 43% to 1.25 trillion dong or $58.7 million. Total assets at the end of September 2014 rose 7.7% from the start of this year to 621 trillion dong. Outstanding loans at the end of September rose 5.5% in the same period to more than 393.5 trillion dong. VietinBank is Vietnam's biggest partly private bank by assets and is 19.73% owned by Japan's Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi or UFG Limited further company coverage. By the end of October, credit growth has only reached 8.63%, which is 3.64% below the target of the year. The deposit rate is lowered by the State Bank of Vietnam, but supporting businesses only accounting for this reduction can hardly achieve high efficiency. Businesses still need a synchronization of different solutions.
Deposit rate once stood at a peak of 14% in August 2011, yet in recent times it has been declining 9 times by a total of 8.5%. In this year particularly, it has dropped twice, and the deposit rate is only a half of the previous years. However, amid the economy's tough conditions, the high lending rate is difficult to bear.
Chúng tôi đang giải ngân ở mức 9 hoặc 10%. Tới đây chúng tôi đề nghị là ngân hàng như cái gói mà ngân hàng nhà nước nêu ra là khoảng 7-8%, đấy là một điều rất tốt. Điều đó nó tác động rất lớn, vừa là kích thích cái nền kinh tế, vừa là để cho chúng tôi giảm bớt chi phí sử dụng vốn.
Ở mức 7-8% là phổ biến ngắn hạn hay là nhưng không quá 90%, và trung hạn 1% thì báo cáo với anh chị rất là cao. Hơn 1 tỷ khách hàng nợ thôi, mà toàn doanh nghiệp lớn nợ, toàn doanh nghiệp có tiềm năng nợ, bởi vì không thì người ta không mua. Thế mà bản thân chúng tôi thì nợ ngân hàng cũng khoảng cả hai ngân hàng khoảng 200 tỷ, tức là chỉ nợ bằng một tôi nợ các một nửa thôi, nhưng người khác nợ thì người ta không chịu lãi, và tôi nợ thì tôi cứ phải chịu lãi như này.
The nominal deposit rate is lower, but in fact, many businesses have to shoulder much higher lending costs. Hence, additional costs of lending operations should be removed to help businesses cut their capital costs.
Chúng ta nói đến lãi suất chỉ là một bộ phận cơ bản, một bộ phận lớn của chi phí tài chính thôi. Còn tổng chi phí tài chính muốn vay bao gồm có cả chi phí giao dịch và chi phí cơ hội nữa. Như vậy 8 hay 10% ở đây là chúng ta mới chỉ nói đến lãi suất. Thế còn những cái vấn đề về giao dịch bảo đảm, những cái điều kiện để được xem xét vay vốn, những cái khoản chi phí mà doanh nghiệp phải trả thực sự để mà tiếp cận được cái khoản vay chung và dài hạn đấy thì còn là một vấn đề khác. Nhiều chuyên gia cho rằng là hiện nay chúng ta mới chỉ giảm lãi suất danh nghĩa, chứ chúng ta chưa giảm chi phí của vốn vay.
Lending expense is just part of business input costs, which should be reduced by fiscal policy supports.
Lãi suất đã hạ, nhưng mà các doanh nghiệp không có nhu cầu vay vốn. Hay nói cách khác là chính sách tiền tệ không, chính sách lãi suất chưa đủ để tác động đến nền kinh tế. Và để có thể kích cầu, để có thể tăng tổng cầu của nền kinh tế thì có lẽ là đây là thời điểm mà chúng ta phải vận hành mạnh hơn các công cụ chính sách tài khóa, chứ không phải là các công cụ chính sách tiền tệ.
Obviously, falling mobilization interest rate is an optimistic sign, but the coordination between policies is the key to spur credit growth, help businesses to recover their production, and revive economic growth.
And now let's move on the bulletin with some foreign trade news. The United States International Trade Commission has decided to keep anti-dumping tax on pangasius imported from Vietnam at least in the next 5 years. The decision was made following the Commission's second investigation review for anti-dumping duties on pangasius imported from Vietnam, with 100% of votes in favor. The U.S. Commission stated the revocation of the tariffs on Vietnamese goods would be likely to lead to continuation or recurrence of material injury to the U.S. frozen fillet industry within the foreseeable time. The Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers forecast shrimp export revenues of $3.8 billion this year compared to $3 billion in 2013. As of October, shrimp export was worth $3.25 billion, rising 42.3%. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, 2014 will be a big year for Vietnam's shrimp farming industry. Already 569,000 tons of shrimp have been harvested, and output for the full year is expected to shoot up to 20.4% to 660,000 tons. And now the final part is summary of local gold prices, forex and securities markets. Our program has come to an end. Thank you so much for your time with us. We'll see you soon and goodbye for now.